like to call to order the August 4th workshop meeting of Plymouth Township Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda, does anyone have public comment about anything? There'll be opportunities as we go along anyway. Okay, presentation items. First up is 300 Lee Drive, a presentation on a zoning hearing appeal and application.
Would you like me to sit at the end, or?
Sure, and I think, the speakers, they're not speakers, what are they? Microphones on the ceiling should be able to pick you up.
Excellent. Some new faces. I haven't been here in a couple of months, so introduce myself to those I haven't met. Rob Lewis from Kaplan Stewart. Just handing out
Thank you.
a little bit of material. I think most of the members of council
Thank you very much.
are probably familiar with it, but that way we all are operating from the same thing. Alex? Lonnie, do you want a copy as well?
Sure.
Very exciting stuff. So I represent EVB Gravers LLC. They are the owners of 300 Lee Drive. And as the chair pointed out, we're here to make a brief presentation with respect to the zoning hearing board appeal and application that we have filed. As many of you probably know, EVB is also the owner of the adjacent property. Technically, it was part of the same park, but it was already established before the park was developed. And that's where they operate their towing, recovery, and auto repair facility. I know Kevin's been there for a while. In my head, it's still always the Faulkner Collision building that you see coming along the turnpike. Obviously, it's Kevin's building now, but that's how I still remember it. I provided everyone the packet that really just has 3 different plan sheets. I'll kind of walk through those. First, just being an aerial photograph. I just wanted to put in context for everybody, 300 Lee Drive, for those that aren't necessarily all that familiar with it. 300 Lee Drive is actually what's commonly referred to as Lot 2 of the Plymouth Meeting Park. Plymouth Meeting Park is an industrial park that was developed many, many years ago by Peter Cross. It consisted originally of 9 lots. It's, I think, down to 8. Some of them were consolidated. The park has kind of an array of different users within that park. The most notable being the Homewood Suites, which is immediately adjacent on Lot 3. There is another hotel within the park, and then a self-storage facility, and then in the back, what everybody for many years called the IMS building. I think that's now owned, I know it's owned by Alliance, and I think they actually have their first significant tenant for that facility, Donnelly's Heating and Cooling, I believe, is going into a significant portion of that building. The park itself is zone limited industrial, and it is surrounded generally by other properties zone limited industrial. Obviously to the north it's bordered by the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and the Turnpike interchange actually wraps around to the east as well. I think important kind of to the discussion of this property are many of the surrounding uses. If you've ever driven back in Gravers and Davis and Gallagher, there is a wide mix of industrial users back there. I know Jim Kilduff still owns a couple of buildings that do have some office tenants. I think there may even be a golf simulator facility back there in one of those buildings. But you do have a lot of the more traditional industrial users back in that area. There used to be a very large landscaping contractor back there who stored everything from mulch and trees and bushes and shrubs and equipment. There's now Geppert now has a container facility back there where they have large roll-off dumpsters and so forth stored on their property. Our property is 3 acres, takes access directly from Lee Drive. It is undeveloped as of right now, and our proposal is to grade that lot and make it available so that we would have about a 75,000 square foot flat gravel yard to be used by a contractor. In the business, they call it a laydown lot. It's really a contractor's storage facility. We have no intention at this point of building any building to go along with that. These types of users are not looking to have a building, and it would really be cost prohibitive for many of them. Back in April, we filed a grading application to do the work necessary to level that lot. We will need a retaining wall, I believe, along the turnpike side. It's pretty steep there. And during the review of that grading permit application, Mr. Manai's office raised the issue as to whether or not what we were proposing was permitted. And so it was referred to the zoning officer. And in June, the zoning officer issued a determination that he did not believe that our proposed use as a storage facility, a storage yard for contractors, was a permitted use. We have now filed an appeal from that determination, alternatively have requested a variance to permit that use. The second sheet, I'll come back to that obviously, but the second sheet in your packet is a rendered version of the site plan, and wanted to point this out because I think it is very important. Unlike many of the other users in the limited industrial district, we are proposing to landscape this facility. We will have double rows of evergreens surrounding the entire property. We're also proposing ordinance compliant stormwater management facilities, something that does not exist out there today. So it will be a heavily buffered use. In that vein, it's important to note, Mr. Bowe purchased this property with the intent that someday it may be an opportunity for him to expand his business, the adjacent EVB recovery facility. Right now, that's not his intent. He does not need this space for himself, but it was available and it made sense for him to purchase it now. And in the interim, we were looking to utilize it for a contractor's laydown yard. When I was talking, I think in email conversations back and forth with Mr. Woodrow and probably Alex's office, I was asked kind of, well, what does that mean? Is this just going to be stuff strewn about? There was a fear that maybe this use is a junkyard. It is not. Right now we have an LOI from a company called JK Steel. I think JK Steel is a good example of the types of people that are looking to use this facility. JK Steel is a distributor of very large steel products, everything from sheet pilings to structural piping, enormous steel products that they fabricate elsewhere. Once they fabricate them and they have to get them ready to deliver these to sites or distribute out to their clients, they need some place to store. They're impractical to store indoors, and they're capable of being stored outdoors. So JK Steel is probably the quintessential tenant that we're looking to put in the facility. We filed an appeal from the determination because I do believe that the way the language is written in the ordinance that this is a permitted use. The ordinance provides that warehousing, distributing, and storage of products is a permitted use. And importantly, the ordinance specifically provides that a building, a series of buildings, or a property may be used for that purpose. The determination from the zoning officer seemed to indicate that he believed that those uses are not permitted because there's no building associated with it. I think it is strongly supported that we don't need a building, that the property itself can be used for these purposes, and there does not need to be a building to establish a principal use. So that's why we took the appeal, because we do believe that it is an appropriate use, fits in certainly in the neighborhood, and is permitted by the code. I did have a conversation with Mr. Clark a few weeks ago. We talked just generally about it, and he had recommended that I come into the workshop, present it to council, give you a sense of what it is that we're proposing, to try and listen to any comments, concerns, or questions that you may have before we head to the zoning hearing board. Last thing from me, so you can stop listening to me talk. I do represent two of the other property owners in Wilmington Park. The adjoining Homer Suites is my client. I have spoken to them, and they have no objection to the use. In fact, they will issue a letter to that effect, saying that they have no objection to the use. I had shared with them the plan. They simply asked that the buffer plantings, when they are planted, start at 8 feet. We're fine with that. We have no issues with starting at 8 feet. And then I've also spoken to Alliance, who owns the former IMS building, and they too have no objection to this use. In some ways, I think it's beneficial to them to have another user. For those that know, Lee Drive is a private road, and so the lot owners there must share all their costs and expenses for maintenance and so forth of Lee Drive, so they're happy to have somebody else sharing in those expenses as well, and they do not see it as a conflict with their uses. So that's our proposal. I do have Kevin Bowe from EVB here. I do have Marty Eustace, also our engineer from Eustace Engineering. If there's any questions I can't answer, but if council has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions, Tom? I have some, but I want to give all opportunity first.
I'm not sure yet.
Well, okay, I'll start. You said that it's potential expansion in the future for EVB's recovery use. What does recovery mean?
Towing. So
Towing.
towing. So EVB is contracted by many municipalities and Turnpike Commission as well, and the Turnpike Commission. So they routinely are out tow vehicles, bring them back to their shop. And if I can, it's worth noting, EVB is not a junkyard. So they'll tow a vehicle. The vehicle comes back. It has to be determined at that point, usually by insurance, as to whether or not that vehicle can be repaired or if it's total loss. If it can be repaired, certain repairs can be done by EVB, but typically it's taken to a dealership or some other collision repair facility because of the insurance company. And if it is a total loss, the insurance company then picks it up and actually takes it to a junkyard. So there are cars that have been in accidents, obviously, on the property, but they're removed once the insurance claims are settled. So that's what EVB does.
So there could be storage of inoperable vehicles, and one of the exclusions under warehousing and distributing is excluding body repair. So that's not allowed. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I agree with you. That use currently would not be allowed on this property. EVB Towing's use on its property is a lawful non-conforming use. It has been there for a very long time, from the Faulkner days. If we do seek to expand this use, we know that we would have to seek relief from the zoning hearing board. That's not what we're seeking today. That's not what our appeal is. That's not what our application to the zoning hearing board. I was simply making you aware that, yes, he purchased it with the hopes that someday if he needs to expand, we would then approach the township and seek the necessary approval to do that.
So
Right
it's
now,
possible step by step. Let us do it now, and then we may ask for more relief in the future.
correct. If he needs that space in the future for expansion of his use, we know we would have to come back to the township and seek approval. Right now, all we're seeking to do is what we believe is actually a permitted use, which is the warehousing and distributing for contractors.
Okay, and you said Homewood Suites, I know what they do, has no objection. What does Alliance do?
Alliance owns the, 120,000 square foot, used to be IMS. It's the only real big office building back in that park. So Alliance owns that. IMS is no longer a tenant. They are fitting out that building for various size users. The one that they have signed that I know is Donnelly Heating and Cooling. So they will be fleet vehicles. They will store most of their stuff internally and then have large fleet vehicles like a Horizon and one of those. Interestingly enough, Donnelly Heating and Cooling, their fleet are actually customers of EVB Towing. So they maintain their fleet vehicles. just happenstance now that they would be located in the same park. But
Are there any other adjacent properties that have not yet been asked if they have objections or concerns?
I have not yet, I actually represent the self-storage facility as well. I have not reached out to them simply because they're not immediately adjacent. I don't think that they'll have any objection, and I'm happy to reach out to them. I do not know the owner of the other hotel facility. I did not work on that one, but I'm happy to reach out to them too.
I know one of the things that you mentioned here, and it's also in the document that you shared, is the intention is not for this to become a junkyard. And I fully
100%.
appreciate and believe 100% that is not the intention at this point. Is there anything though, and Alex, I don't know if this is a question for you as well, is there anything that would stop that from happening in the future if maybe someone, a potential client did come in and say, this is our intent?
I think if there was a change of use, it would have to be reviewed by the zoning officer, and if it was done without going to the township first, then the zoning and code officer would be able to cite for non-compliance with the current zoning code, or not complying with any potential future zoning decision that may be issued.
So a junkyard would clearly be a different zoning code.
I would need to take a look at the zoning code, but assuming that the junkyard is not permitted, then yes.
And I would agree with Alex that a junkyard is not a permitted use there. It is definitely a different character of use. Not only just inoperable vehicles, but a junkyard is typically associated also with having like a large shredding machine, shredding the vehicles, compacting the vehicles, stripping them of parts, storing, all the pieces. EVB does not do that. They ship, if there's a total loss, the car gets shipped off-site. They do not operate a junkyard. And to that point, and I think it's an important one, Kevin owns the adjoining property. He has every intention of continuing doing this. I know you have to look into the future as well, but he wants this property to look nice. He keeps his property as well as he can for the type of use he has. This is the immediately adjacent property. And so as the owner and therefore the landlord of whatever the tenants are, he's immediately next door and can make sure that the property is kept in the condition that he expects it to be kept in.
So if tonight we were to agree with our zoning officer that this is not currently a permitted use, would your next step be to go to the zoning hearing board?
Yes, we're
For
scheduled for
variance?
August 8th.
They are scheduled later this month for a zoning hearing, and this is just I believe Rob wanted to come in and explain the application, because typically if council had any concerns with it at the agenda meeting, they would authorize opposition if that was the direction they wanted to go into.
So one possibility for us tonight, if we were to just object anyway, would be to authorize you as our solicitor to attend the zoning hearing board on the variance?
So
And
the
to
variance, the council will need to make a decision if they are comfortable with the relief being requested, being neutral, letting the zoning hearing board make the decisions, or if they ultimately want to oppose or support the application. But with regard to the interpretation, you likely will be sending our office to defend the zoning officer's interpretation regardless.
I'm wondering if, well, first of all, I mean, this doesn't, from what you've shared, it doesn't seem unreasonable, but I'm wondering if there's anything that we haven't considered, like much larger trucks coming through the township, the sound of much larger trucks coming through neighborhoods as they pass through to get to this site, wear and tear on our roads. Like, is there anything, and I guess that's an open question, if anybody has input on that, like, is there anything we should be considering with this potential use?
There are some residences here.
May I contribute to that? So, important to point out, the former IMS building has now been retrofitted. They are expecting to have tractor-trailer deliveries on a routine basis to that facility. As I mentioned, Lee Drive is a private road, so the final mile of any vehicles coming and going will be on a private road. Being a limited industrial district, Gravers, Gallagher, Davis, all of those roads currently are already subject to quite a bit of truck traffic. The vast majority of vehicles that head back in that direction are coming off of the turnpike, which means they likely circulate down around to Gallagher, down by the Metroplex, and come up there, whereas the residential communities are on the other side of the turnpike. So I don't foresee it generally having an impact on that residential community.
Anybody else have an opinion on that?
Well, it just seems like what you're trying to do is avoid variance, right? You don't want to have to go through a variance hearing. You want us to overturn our zoning hearing officer's interpretation of the
The
ordinance?
application before the zoning hearing board is
Is anyway.
interpretation or in the alternative, a request for a variance.
Okay. Gotcha. And
Rob, I
whether
have
or
one
not we
question.
want to-
You mentioned a steel company might use this site. Is this site a one-user site, or could that be multiple users?
Kevin, are you anticipating?
So our first choice would be to find one user. Yeah.
But it could be more.
It could be. If there was somebody that didn't need the entire 75,000 square feet of space.
How would you parcel that up?
My guess is that at most, we would probably put an additional fence. I didn't mention that when, not only landscaping, the buffering, but there is a proposed fence for security purposes on property. We would always delineate it with an additional fence to separate that. We do have 2 curb cuts to Lee Drive, so we would have the ability to have 2 access points if we had 2 tenants. So that's pretty easily done for us. Certainly, the hope is to have 1 person and 1 tenant. It's a lot easier to manage.
Thank you.
Matt, do you have anything?
Aaron?
No, I don't have anything.
I don't either.
Kristen?
Seems reasonable. What do I not know that I?
Yeah.
You'll have another opportunity to discuss this prior to the meeting or during the meeting next week if you want to send us to oppose or to be neutral or make any decisions there.
Yeah, that's my only concern, is not really understanding the ordinance, which is our local statute, and no, not in-depth understanding why our zoning officer said what they said.
We can discuss that further later.
Okay. And we'll do that without saying yes or no.
Understood.
But appreciate all the additional information.
We
so that
appreciate
know
the
what's
opportunity.
going on.
And Alex asked me to give him a call on something tomorrow. Maybe you'll have more then. If not, hopefully we can get some feedback before the 18th.
Okay.
Would it also be reasonable to expect that, I know you said you hadn't had a chance to talk to a couple of the property owners that were adjacent, like you talked to 2, but not others. Could we anticipate that would be something that would happen as well?
I'm happy to. I'm happy to reach out.
I mean, do you all think that's reasonable?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
I don't know who's developing, Alex, do you know? I think the vacant lots in the island, somebody did something for one of those recently, right? A
Looking at
sports
Lonnie to see if-
facility or something?
There was a proposed sports facility, yeah. I don't know how far it went. After it got approved, I got out of the loop. Nobody,
Is that the pickleball facilities?
Pickleball.
yeah, and it was a training center too. They were gonna train athletes there at one time too.
If you have
I'll try to get you the info
if you
tomorrow.
have contact information for them, I just don't know who it is.
Yeah, and maybe the pickleball people, because they are gonna be operating something that's bringing in members of the public who are looking for entertainment as opposed to, others who just make sure that,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to reach out to them.
See if they have any
what
concern.
they think about it.
I'm happy to. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll go tomorrow. Roker Street.
Business meeting. We usually do it.
Let's go to the show.
Mention at the end. Yeah, just mention it. Next week.
Opera House, that thing.
Okay, so, our agenda is presentation by VET, a proposed Conshohocken Ridge mixed-use development at the area of Ridge Pike and Coral Lane.
Yep. Good evening. Peter Clellan from BET. Not the first time you've seen us or this project, but it's been a little while. Since we're here, at the time, we didn't have any branding for it. We are now calling it Plymouth Crossing. So we're here tonight to just kind of rediscuss the project from where we left off, I'll say, a year ago, and also provide some additional information that was talked about back at the time, both on the fiscal side of things as well as the traffic side of things, and to see if we can't make some headway on potentially advancing the project. So, with that, I will get into the slides. Actually, before that, so Peter Cleland, Vice President of Development for BET. With me tonight is Chris Williams from Bowman, our traffic engineer, John Kennedy, our planner, and Julie Von Spreckelsen, our counsel, in case we're fortunate enough to get that far. A little background on the company, you saw that before. Our owner is Bruce Toll, formerly of Toll Brothers. He's been running this company with Michael Markman for about 25 years, doing these kinds of projects and other commercial ventures. This slide is just an aerial of the site as it stands today, composed of the 6 office buildings. We do not own the corner piece up in the top right, but the 6 office buildings in the center part, bounded by 476 on the left and Ridge Pike at the top. Here's a few images of the now largely vacant office buildings on the property. It's been, as with most office in the market, in a state of decline for years and years. And it's our hope to eliminate 3 of the buildings on the left side of the page, the smallest one at the top left corner, the one directly behind it, and the other one closest to the blue route.
This one, this one.
Which will take care of a significant amount of the vacancy at the property and redevelop it in a mixed-use capacity where you can have office users and residential people and a certain amount of commercial space all working together on one site to try to reduce trips and provide for interconnectivity among the different uses on the site. So this is a quick overlay of the proposed site plan. So you'll see on the left-hand side of the page, the sort of F-shaped building, I'll call it, with the green blocks within it, which is proposed to replace those office uses we previously discussed. And then I also, I'm sure you've all seen it, but we also overlaid the Ridge Pike Improvement Project that illustrates the interchange improvements at the 476 ramps with the composite site plan. And I'm going to sidestep now for just a moment and let John Kennedy talk about office redevelopment. And you want this page? You want to go back?
Actually, if we could maybe go back a little bit. There we go. Good evening. My name is John Kennedy, Principal Kennedy Associates Planners and Land Use Consultants. We've been retained by BET to work on this site and take a look at the zoning and surrounding area. I'm sure this is something, a situation that many townships are in. It's not anything that is unique or new to Plymouth Township. We're actually looking at redevelopment of office parks and office buildings virtually all over the Delaware and Lehigh Valleys. So this is a real issue that we all have to face. I did go and look through your comprehensive plan, which I know was adopted in 2019. Unfortunately, that was before COVID. And so while there are a lot of very good elements in the plan, there are some other parts of the plan which unfortunately may not be applicable today. In the future use plan, land use plan, this area is designated as office light industrial. So, and zoning-wise, what we have is C commercial. So C commercial allows for a wide variety of uses. Of course, there could be a retail use, there could be a car dealership, which I don't know that you really need any more of those here. But there could be a number of uses that would have far more of an impact to the surrounding neighbors. And that's why we really feel that putting a mixture of uses on this site and also as part of the plan, which Pete will get into a little later, with the pedestrian improvements that are proposed, it actually will enhance the overall pedestrian facilities in the township. And it would make it possible so that people in this neighborhood could actually come and use retail space here, or even get out to Ridge and be able to take advantage of those improvements which are going to be installed in the near future. So I look at this and think that this is actually an opportunity. It's an opportunity to reposition this site so that it is productive and that it will produce income and revenue for the township. Also jobs, but it will also produce badly needed housing. We're all aware of the housing shortage that we have, not just here in Pennsylvania and the Delaware Valley, but virtually all around the country. So this would go a long way to help provide some housing. There is also a part of this plan that would have an affordable element to it, which I think would also be a way that the township can not only provide housing, but also make somewhat of a statement. And I guess finally, the last thing I would like to say is that in terms of an opportunity here, I really do think that, especially the areas over further to the east, it really represents a potential opportunity to take a look at the Ridge Pike corridor and really improve it. One area that to me could be considered similar, if you go back a few years, would be part of Route 202 to Cal Pike in Upper Marion. They have really done a great job of redefining parts of that corridor close to the mall. They brought buildings closer to the street, they've provided a mixture of uses, and it's really started to change it. And I think between that and some of the pedestrian improvements that are being completed by the county in the near future, that does represent an opportunity to maybe make it a little bit more pedestrian oriented and try to encourage more walkability. And so with that, I'm going to let Pete go through the project with a little bit more detail.
Thanks, John. So as I said, this is the overlay of the site plan on the aerial along with the Ridge Pike improvement project. So this is more of a blow up of just the site plan. Again, this is similar to what you saw a year ago. It's been developed a little bit further to address, as John mentioned, some of the internal pedestrian connectivity between the office uses that are existing and the proposed uses on the site, as well as connections to the exterior sidewalk. There is actually exterior sidewalk on this property today along both Ridge Pike and Colwell Lane. Probably vastly underutilized, I would imagine, just based on the nature of those bounding roads. But we've taken the liberty of highlighting on this plan. So the yellow is the existing sidewalk. And as you can see, internally, there is not really any connection to the external pedestrian network. So there's never really been any attempt to have people walk to the site or walk from the site. So with our project, we're proposing to not only connect to those perimeter sidewalks for our users from both streets, but also make enhanced internal connections to allow people in the office buildings to make their way through the site safely through the parking lot and cross to get to the retail areas that would front on Ridge Pike side of the building. So you saw these images before. This is looking into the site from Ridge Pike near the main entranceway. Again, it's a 4-story apartment building over top of a limited amount of retail, just about a little under 20,000 square feet of total retail in that front part of the building. And in the back, we have a covered enclosed loading area for the retail vis-a-vis this entrance here underneath, and then behind that is structured parking, and above that is structured parking. And then we have the rooftop areas for recreation of the residents as well as just general amenity and stormwater. Different view, this is sort of the 476 side of the building. Again, this area here is the enclosed loading dock area and the pass-through underneath the building. Bridge Pike is off to the left of the screen. And as you go towards the back of the site, off to the right side of the screen, the parking gets partially hidden as you go around the back of the building by grading that accesses the second level of the parking structure. This is an aerial view somebody in the four-story office building on the other side of the parking lot might see, showing those rooftop green areas that I mentioned previously on the left side with some of the entertainment type spaces that we would have outside of our amenity space on the roof deck. And then the other one would be more of a passive green roof. These are just more detailed building plans, so you can see the parking on the first floor level on the left side of the page, that pass-through loading area that I mentioned. And then this area here would be sort of the entrance to the apartment building, separated functionally from the retail spaces. The retail spaces are the light pink on the right side of the page, and the gray down here is the existing office building that would remain. Second level, a larger parking level, and then sort of the remaining volume of the retail space below. And then you get to the third floor, so this is typical of the upper floors of the apartment building. So they would all look down on those green roofs internally. Tabulations, as with before, it's about 200 units with a mix of about 60% one bedrooms and 40% two bedrooms, no three bedrooms. As we talked about earlier on, we stay away from those to reduce potential impacts on the school district. We don't find in our experience and in the county's experience that 1 and 2 bedrooms do not generate a lot of kids into the public school. So now we're going to hear from our traffic engineer. You want me to stay here? All right.
Good evening, Chris Williams with Bowman Consulting. So we just did a quick trip generation comparison for the site. So the site as it exists today is 198,000 square feet of office. We did count the existing site, and then based on that counted trip generation rate, the existing site would have a potential to generate a total of 211 trips in the weekday morning rush hour, 214 trips in the weekday evening commuter rush hour. Those are all new trips, right? Office generates entirely new trips to the area. By comparison, is a mixed-use development, and a lot of, and some of this has already been touched on, but there are a lot of benefits and opportunities with a mixed-use development. You have that sort of that vibrancy with the mix of uses. There's an internalization whereby somebody who lives on site may also patronize a restaurant or shop at the grocery store or also work in one of the office buildings. So there's a real opportunity for internalization and sort of that vibrancy that's created within the site. So what that means is a little bit of a reduction in traffic. Also with retail uses, a component of retail traffic is captured as pass-by traffic, meaning it's traffic which is passing by the site. So as a mixed-use development, total trips theoretically are 288 trips in the morning rush hour, 432 trips, total trips in the evening rush hour. However, when you take the internalization reductions that is inherent to a mixed-use development as well as the pass-by reductions in terms of what's newly generated to the area, it would be 254 trips in the morning rush hour, 313 in the evening rush hour. So by comparison, we do generate more traffic than an occupied office park, but it's not much additional traffic. So it's a difference of 43 trips in the morning rush hour, 99 trips in the evening rush hour. So it's an added 1 or 2 vehicles per minute, not a significant increase. And we think, again, a real benefit in terms of the offerings to the community and that vibrancy that's created and a real sort of enhancement to the site.
So I believe we shared this information with you the last time we were here about the taxes that are expected to be generated from this if it was to be constructed and occupied. It is a net positive to the school district of about $466,000. And that takes into account the expected 12 public school students that would be expected. Again, just based on studies from 200 units, we would expect 12 school-age students from the project, and those are accounted for at the cost of $27,308 per student. And then to the township, it's a net positive of about $154,000. As we had mentioned last year, we had heard what was said about trying to appeal specifically to middle-income people and employees of the township, firefighters, police, first responders, and teachers. And we continue to stand behind our intention to allocate 10% of the units at a 15% discount to those types of people who would want to rent here. These are some images that I believe you saw before of some of our other projects in terms of we have our amenity spaces, both interior and exterior. The upper left is one of our lobby areas. The upper right is one of our game room and recreation room areas, and then the two lower areas are sort of our outdoor decks and pools, admittedly at a much larger property than what we're talking about here, but we tend to do significant features for these amenity spaces to make them feel like people are on vacation when they're at their home. Some more images of the same kind of stuff. Two-story lobby there in the upper right corner from a different property. That one's in Media, Pennsylvania. And we always include some sort of a workout room, again, to try to facilitate people staying on site and not having to leave to get to their gym and that sort of thing. And then the lower left is a typical unit finish for one of our projects. And, okay, I was gonna, you and John, I guess if you wanted to
Yeah, I think this.
wrap up again with just sort of
This again points out some of the other advantages. Obviously, we're transforming a vacant, a majority vacant property. The vacancy is about 55% right now. Also, the additional households would support local businesses, not just the business on this site, but other surrounding businesses too. And this would also help generate economic growth for the township. It makes the property productive. Right now, I'm not sure what the status of the property is, but the trend that we see is pretty much the owners come in and ask to have the taxes reevaluated, and usually the taxes are lowered. So if that has not happened on this property, most likely will in the coming years. And I think one advantage is this is another type of opportunity, I think, for the township in the sense that it's not a small unknown developer. It is a known developer. I have worked with BET on many, many projects, and I know of many other projects that they've built in the Delaware Valley and in the East Coast. So I think that that is a real advantage, that you're, excuse me, you're getting a developer that you know and you can trust, and they do follow through. So I think all of those do present a significant opportunity for the township.
And one other thing that I should have touched on, which John just reminded me, with regard to the office vacancy, not only on this property, but just in the market in general. Promenade at Upper Dublin, which is kind of our signature project, our most recent, largest project, we also own the office building immediately adjacent to that. It's about a 250,000 square foot office building, which when we bought it was at a similar, if not worse, rate of occupancy. It was a single tenant building that had been downsizing over the years, turning vacancy back to the market, having mixed results, filling it up. Since we constructed the promenade next to it, we are now nearing 100% occupancy in that office building. So it not only eliminates some vacancy from the market by getting rid of the 3 office buildings that are almost completely vacant, but the remaining buildings on site that are partially vacant, we expect we will have a much easier time filling those back up when you have this type of mixed use and amenity on the property, both from the standpoint of having places that employees can live and work on the same site, as well as places for them to shop. So employers look for that when they're looking to relocate to a space. They look at what's around, how easy is it for my employees to get lunch, to do something before they go home, or to even live on site. And with that, I know I sort of rearranged your thunder, but myself and the team are happy to answer any questions that you have that you've thought of either tonight or since the last time you saw it.
Kristen?
I don't think I have any questions, but.
Okay, go ahead, Lynn.
I have a couple of questions. One of the first things you said is based on this site, there are a number of potential uses that are allowed. And I'm curious, what other potential uses have you aggressively explored that were not heavily residential?
Well, I think John alluded to, within the commercial district, there are other permitted uses. You mentioned car dealerships.
Sure.
Just standalone commercial. Obviously you can continue to try to
Retail
use it as an office
sales,
building.
movie theater. I think what my main point is that there are a lot of uses that are permitted that would have can we put the aerial up? That would have a much greater impact on the surrounding neighbors. And I think that we see right in here. Obviously, if this was just a standard shopping center, these people would be living at the back of a shopping center. If this was similar to the western side of Ridge, this would probably be a car dealership. I think that this use has less impact for the surrounding neighbors, and I think that it offers other opportunities for the surrounding properties to be able to improve the overall corridor of Ridge Pike.
What's the percentage what's the occupancy of the two buildings that you intend to retain? I guess one of them is, Blue Pearl
This
area?
front one here is very well occupied. That has the emergency vet, Will's Eye, and the
District Court?
courthouse. This building, the multi-story office building in the back is, I'm going to say maybe 25% occupied, 30% occupied. This building in the center is a little more than half occupied, I would say, and we're working on trying to get some tenants in there.
Would any existing building occupant be displaced in that model? With an existing office building? It looks like there's one existing office building left on the site. So would anyone who's currently occupying space be displaced?
I think there's one tenant that we would look to move within the site. The other ones are on shorter-term leases or looking to vacate sooner than later.
Was there any consideration at any point of a 55-plus community?
No.
Can you share why?
I mean, our experience in that market is that it's, what we find in these types of facilities is that we get a lot of 55 and overs without designating it as 55 and over. We tend to get young professionals at 55 and over. We don't get a lot of the middle zone. So it's better to have it market rate, market available to catch both ends of that bookend than to just target one end.
You mentioned getting lunch and a restaurant. Are you anticipating that in addition to the grocery store, your other tenant would be a restaurant?
We're allowing that it could be. We don't know who it's going to be.
And it will just be two, like, retail tenants, a grocery store, and an unknown that could be restaurant?
I mean, the unknown space is about 6,000 square feet, I want to say, right? So that could be two, it could be three different users. You know, we tend to see small retail tenants in the range of 2,000 to 4,000 square feet, so.
And would the garage be limited to the residents and the other parking could be anywhere?
Yeah, the rest of this, yeah, the parking for the retail area of the site is per code as a surface parked facility, and then the residential parking is per code within the residential portion.
Can you talk more about the affordable element? You mentioned doing it just for Plymouth Township workers. Would you consider doing it for other people?
We would consider taking the township's lead on how far they want that net cast.
But what would you think about offering? Because we're talking about a one-bedroom starting at $2K.
With the 15% discount.
The 15% discount.
So it would just be a 15% discount. I mean, I'm going to be 100% candid with you here. I don't really like this whole plan at all. That intersection is awful. And your traffic study says that it's already built out, so it can't be expanded. And I know that you're saying it's a small impact, like a small amount of new trips, but at that intersection, that small amount of new trips is going to be felt big time. You're going to have to sit at that light forever to get through that cycle. There's going to be traffic all down Caldwell Lane. People already speed down Caldwell Lane, and they complain, and all the residents complain about it. It's probably going to send more traffic through North Lane, through Conshohocken, which already also has a problem. And all of these transportation projects, all of what you're speculating is ultimately just a guess. Like, an educated guess, but it's a guess because we don't know who's really moving into these apartments and what their life is really like.
Even, and I would
I'm
add.
going to let as you point out, the educated traffic guy offer some responses to that.
Even with a guess, to your point though, Kristen, you said there'd be minimal impact to traffic with plus 99 people coming in the evening, an additional 99 cars on the road. Doesn't sound minimal to me. If you look at sort of a small space and residents and a zone that already has a lot of activity, adding 100 cars during peak travel times in the evening doesn't sound insignificant.
Right, and you said that the light cycle there, the way it's done is there's delays, which creates inefficiency. To fix that, don't we have to go to the state?
Oh, yeah.
So, a couple of thoughts. So I was a long time ago a Plymouth Township resident, lived not too far from here, so I know it well. This intersection has always been problematic. It was a problem 25 years ago when I lived here. It hasn't changed much. It is an awkward, skewed five-leg intersection, which you would never design an intersection this way today. But because of that, it requires the various side streets to each operate with their own signal phase. So it's at a disadvantage from the get-go because it's very inefficient. Your most efficient traffic signal operates when you can have multiple legs of the intersection going at the same time. But because of the design of this intersection and the layout, that's really unavoidable. And there are no plans as part of the county project. There are no plans by PennDOT to change this intersection. This intersection has been looked at many, many times over the years. But it's not a great intersection today. There are plenty of uses that could go on the site that would be permitted by right that would generate much more traffic than I think anything we're talking about today. It is 99 trips as an increase in the afternoon, but it's divided between 72 entering, 27 exiting. So there is sort of that flow, right? There's an inbound and an outbound, so it's not all coming into the site or all exiting. So you get a little bit of a balance there. In terms of the distribution of trips, it's about 20% estimated coming to and from sort of the south on Caldwell, combined Caldwell and North, 20% Chemical Road, and then about 30% each side of Ridge. So it's pretty, from a traffic management standpoint, it's an ideal site location because there's a reason there's development in this area. It's really well suited, given its convenient access to major transportation. So that's an efficiency because it allows traffic to disperse in multiple directions, right? There are other developments where they're sort of isolated and all the traffic has to sort of go out one way, come in the other. Here, it's a little bit more efficiently distributed, so trying to hit what are the positives. But I'll be the first to say, and again, I lived here 25 years ago. This intersection was bad then. It hasn't changed much over the years. Although we do generate certainly more traffic, it ends up being one additional vehicle every 1 or 2 minutes. So I know that may sound scary from where I sit, as what I do for a living. It's not that much traffic. In terms of the change in operations to the traffic signal, because we have done a study, in the peak hour, we're looking at sort of an average delay increase kind of overall to the intersection of anywhere from sort of 3 to 7 seconds. So it's not going to have that sort of concerning effect of dramatic increases in delays. So it really, I hate to say this because you get laughed at when you say it, but it's almost going to be imperceptible. It's not that when you look at it, one vehicle every minute or every 2 minutes, it's not going to be a big change. But I understand the concern because it's not a great intersection today, and I've lived it. I get, but this by itself is not going to be. There are plenty of uses that could go on this site by right that would be far worse, and probably less of an attraction than what we're discussing here.
So Caldwell Lane will be the only place where there's access and egress, right?
No, so we have. You want to go to the site plan?
Yeah, it's on Ridge and Caldwell.
Yeah, so there's an existing full movement driveway on Caldwell, and then there's a right in, right out on Ridge. And that would.
Is that currently there?
Yes.
Right in, right out?
Correct.
I never noticed.
Yeah. Yes.
So they can only turn,
So, yeah, coming from the Norristown area, turn right in and then right out, so.
So the people coming out on Caldwell, though, I mean, those are not 1 and 2 minute lights. So if a couple of cars come out on Caldwell, make that left,
Yeah.
if they can get out, because there could already be traffic backed up on Caldwell at rush hour.
So we did a gap study at the Caldwell Lane driveway because we had that same concern. There are a lot of gaps on Caldwell Lane, like hundreds of gaps on Caldwell Lane during rush hour. So it is far more easier for traffic to get in and out of the Caldwell Lane driveway than honestly even I was expecting. So the backups on Caldwell, I'm not going to say at times they aren't bad,
But at the same time, the only reason to go out to Caldwell is if you're going towards Norristown on Ridge Pike. Every other movement you can make by making a right onto Ridge Pike.
right. So if you want to go Chemical Road.
The only reason would be if you're going to the car dealer to get your car serviced, or you're heading down to the closest, well, not even the closest Wawa, but, you know. What's that?
Or going to the Metroplex.
No, you
Going to
can
the
use Ridge.
Metroplex, you would make a right on Ridge and a left on Chemical at the traffic light.
Oh, right, yeah.
There'd be no reason to go to Caldwell.
I have a question. Are you who's going to manage the property then? So then would you manage, say, the discount and make sure that's actually being offered?
Yes. Yes, we've explored this through other requests of other townships about how it would happen, documentation, all that kind of stuff, so.
Are there members of the public who came tonight? I'm not sure. I can't really see who wanted to
Yes, Byron
comment
Adams.
or ask questions or anything.
I don't know the other gentleman. I happen to know this one because he used to work for an architect we used.
I just wondered if there were residents here who had questions or concerns and wanted to make comments or ask questions now while.
I would like to comment. I agree that the intersection.
If you could just, you know what, our speakers are up in the ceiling here. Could you just come a little bit closer?
If we can just get your
Because
name.
I can't hear you either.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would agree with the gentleman.
Sorry, if we can also just get your name and if you're
Byron Adams.
You're a township resident.
Plymouth Township resident, live up Butler Pike near the Plymouth Liberty Auto.
Thank you.
daughter in the Colonial School District, like, pleased to see the dollars going to the school district as well.
And I wonder, are the mics picking this up? Does anyone know? Is it? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, no, I
We
appreciate the
have to do
comment.
minutes of our workshop, and I want to make sure the transcriber can hear you.
I wasn't planning on a comment, but Pete called me out, so it's fine. I was just more interested as a resident. Like I said, architectural background, worked with him 10 years ago on a project, grant and run project over in Media, Springfield, PA. But yes, I agree, that intersection is horrible. I get it. I haven't been here, I am currently here, and I drive it regularly during the week. I do not see how a little bit would affect really the traffic there. I get it. It's just a horrible intersection. And I had a little bit of cars. I mean, it's going to be negligible, I think, as well. I think the residents here know how to deal with it. I mean, those are the people who are going to be using this area, I think. But once again, it's, you know, I think it's a welcome addition to the area and sorely needed with some of the things that are not here right now. But yeah, the traffic, I guess, it is, I mean, it won't be different 25 years from now. There's nothing I think we can do for that intersection. I mean, I can't imagine what else could be done. So I get how it is scary though, because yes, I do drive, and people do drive sometimes very fast through there and not pay attention. But that's not the problem, I think, of this project. That's an existing issue. It just happens to be right next to it. So, anyways,
Okay,
thank you. Thank you.
thank you very much. Is there any, I really can't see around, is there anybody else who came here tonight that had particular concerns or questions or comments about this project? No?
No's.
Huh?
Getting no's.
I'm getting no's? Okay, head shakes. I can't really see. Okay, anybody else on council have questions? I guess this is not zoned for residential, so I guess you'd be looking.
It's not. It would require some modifications to the zoning ordinance. We're certainly prepared to put together a draft ordinance if the council is interested in seeing it. We can get that together and get it into your staff's hands for review and see if you would like to take any action on it.
What's the feeling of, we're missing one member tonight. His aunt is singing the national anthem at the Phillies game, so that's definitely a reason not to be here. So there are four of us. What's the thought about contemplating, wanting to consider a text amendment or whatever to change zoning to allow this type of
Is that
residential?
what you're thinking, a text amendment versus a map amendment?
I was. So, as you know, and as was discussed, this property is zone commercial, so the retail use would be permitted by right. If they decided to do a restaurant, that would be permitted by right. And as I think what was being said was there are a number of commercial uses that would be much more impactful that we can put there by right. But what they're trying to do is strike a balance. So they're trying to keep the office portion, a large portion of this property, maintain it as office. And that way, they can keep the three buildings on the right side of the property and then add this use. And as everybody's been speaking about, it then becomes a mixed use. And then the uses are compatible. The people that are living in the residential portion can use the offices. You know, it was discussed that there's a vet there. There's some medical office buildings. So they're all very compatible. They're going to have pedestrian connectivity, and they can all walk there. But the fact of the matter is that there's three buildings that are underutilized. They can't lease these office buildings. So there has to be something done here at this property to assist so that it doesn't become a completely vacant site. And so that's why we're looking for this type of use, because we do think that it works well with the existing office uses. So this is not different than some of your other office properties throughout the township. I know that there have been a number of other office sites where people have come in and they've requested text amendments, zoning map amendments. I know there's one on your agenda tonight. It's an office property. They're going to rezone it, and I believe this township's going to rezone it to allow townhomes. So it's something similar in that vein. In addition, your shopping center district allows this use. It allows mid-rise and high-rise apartments. And that was done on purpose because in 2022, it was the effects of COVID continued on. And so in 2022, there was an amendment to the shopping center district to allow office buildings to be converted to residential. And so this use already exists in your ordinance. So all we really want to do is take that use, conversion of existing office buildings to residential in limited circumstances, and add it to this zoning district.
So yes, text amendment.
I'm sorry, I
went
did
way
go on.
longer than I think we needed to.
Those lawyers.
I know, I'm going to regret bringing it. Yes, we're thinking text amendment. We think some of these pieces already exist in the ordinance, and it's just a matter of bringing them together in the right place.
Although this is changing, I think the office building that we allowed, the Keystone building at the mall area, that we allowed to be converted to residential, they're not changing their footprint. This would change the footprint?
The way we did the text amendment there was they had to reuse the existing building with their new use. I think here they would be looking to demo the building and start from the
There will
ground
be
up.
some nuance to this one that's different than what you've done before, but the framework, I think, is there.
Or if council wants to take a little bit of time and think about it, then they can let Matt know what your thoughts are, and Matt can provide the information and the feedback to Peter individually.
Do you want to take more time, or do you have really strong feelings right now and more time stuff on the change?
It's all good.
My opinion could change when I wake up. Who knows?
Okay.
I might suggest, given that Nick isn't here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think we have, some information from this evening that might be nice to think about, that we give it some thought and provide more of a response as follow-up.
Right.
And
We'll
also
look
give
here from
everybody
Matt
a
then.
chance to hear what happened in the weigh-in. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, and
digest.
we may get some
Yeah.
people attending our regular meeting after listening, because they'll be able to listen to this online, and the materials are available to the public, so they may want to come and voice their opinions as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
It's been a very thoughtful and fulsome presentation.
Julie.
Thank you.
See you, Matt. Thank you, John.
Before we move
See you,
into
Pete.
the action items, I did just want to make an announcement that council is going to meet in an executive session at the conclusion of this meeting, at which time we'll be discussing matters that are permitted to be discussed in executive session involving collective bargaining, public safety, and any potential litigation matters.
Why don't we give it a second as they walk out?
Zig leg.
Sounds like Folsom County Jail here.
Gee, thanks.
Not that I know what that is.
I'm wondering about that.
TV shows, right?
Okay, so, action items, we will be making a motion to appoint John Tiasi to the Environmental Advisory Board to fill in an unexpired term. Don't want-
Oh, you want to? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to. I know John, and I've talked to him about it. It's a really great job. So I will take that one. Then I guess I do the approval of the minutes. and departmental reports. So that's usually what I do. And then we have a motion to approve the promotion of our officer David Phillips to the rank of sergeant. Anyone, Lynn wants to take that? Okay. Next, the promotion of Rocco Wack to the rank of lieutenant.
I can do that.
Okay, Aaron, thank you.
Can I swap with you, Eric? Would you mind? Actually, I was gonna say, I've like done a ride along with Rocco. I'd actually like to do that one if you don't mind.
Okay,
That-
so,
that's okay.
so Lynn will take 2 in a row.
No, we can swap. I don't mean to, I don't wanna hog them all. I just thought, actually, that would be,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm doing David Phillips and
Yeah.
Lynn's doing Rocco.
sorry.
Okay.
Making a mess of your paper, sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
We just swapped.
All
I
right,
really
so
wanted you to doodle, so.
that's fine. All right, so we have David Phillips, we have Rocco Wack. We have another promotion of John Fullerton to the rank of sergeant. Okay, I'll take it.
No, I'm
Oh,
not
you're
gonna
not-
be here for
Oh,
that
that's right.
meeting, that's why I'm not volunteering for
Right.
things. If you want, I can be Nick and volunteer him.
Okay, well, Nick did say that he would take on anything. Since he's last minute not here because of his aunt's performance, so.
It's all you.
Nick, you've been volunteered for John
The
Fullerton.
one that just has his name.
Then we have a motion to approve the swearing in of our probationary patrol officer, Eric Gaynor.
I'll do that one.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. All right, this will be Nick, a motion to approve the escrow release of the Black Horse Woods subdivision. That's in Ward 1, right? That will be Nick. All right, then we're going to have a motion. We have been meeting summer hours for our regular meetings at 6 o'clock, and we are going to approve changing those meeting times from 6 p.m. for the remainder of 2025, and then there'll be new council and they can decide. Anyone want to take that one? Lynn wants to, okay. And then a motion to approve the advertisement for a zoning map amendment for the following properties, 521, 523, and 525 Plymouth Road. Who wants to take that?
And that's proposed to be at September 8th.
And that will be,
Isn't 521 Mission Kids?
okay. I'm sorry, what?
Maybe those numbers aren't right.
Right, should be 523, 525, and 527.
All right, 521 is the Mission Kids.
Yes.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Glad you're here, Jim.
Aaron?
Thanks, Jim. All right, so it is 523, 525, 527 Plymouth Road. We all know that 521 was also previously approved for Missions Kids to occupy, and that did not require any zoning changes. So, Lynn, you said you wanted to take that, and what did you say about September 8th?
That's the date that we're suggesting that we advertise, that will be the hearing.
Oh, the hearing will be on September the 8th.
Yes. And that's when the applicant and their professionals have let us know that they are available.
And that hearing, of course, is open to the public.
Of course, and we'll have a court reporter present for the testimony.
Okay. And there can be public participation at that as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Public can participate and provide comment on the proposed ordinance.
Okay, thank you. All right, and now we move to the fun part,
Yeah, so on
which
6
is
p.m.,
all
just do it
department
first.
heads are here. And so we will get updates from everybody. Should we start with you, Jim, since you caught our whole hog earlier?
Basically, we're still working on Laserfish. I met with Phil at the community center about bringing them into it. We're actually he's working on getting things scanned, and we're working on getting numbers so we can put it in the budget for this next year. Square 9, if I'm not mistaken, that's it, is getting ready to be moved into Laserfish from HR, to what Brandon told me today.
All right, great.
And people on the sidewalk committee, the sidewalks are in Tracer already.
Oh, really? Wow. That's impressive.
And a survey today by Marco, there's a few that aren't there, but they're more recent ones. So we're going to work on getting those put in.
Jim spent all weekend digitizing them and putting them in.
Literally?
No. That was a data set that we got from DVRPC. It is 98% filled.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, great. And I'm sorry, Mike, I skipped over you. You were kind of hidden by. No comments on Matt, but you actually hid him behind me. But then you leaned forward and I saw you. So how about you, Mike? Any updates from Fire Marshal?
Yeah, a couple of things. I mentioned last month that we're still working with the fire marshals in this area of the county to get mutual aid agreements formally. I think the council are approving the one between Plymouth Township and Whit Payne last month. I want to bring a couple more up, but we started discussing it more rather than doing this piecemeal with each one. Our discussions were, let's get together as a group for the several in this part of the region of the county and just do a group mutual aid agreement. I guess the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
So that we're not doing one-on-one, and each one of them is doing one-on-one with everybody, just like we have had for Plymouth, Conshohocken, and White Marsh for years now. We did group one then. We're going to do group one with East Arden, West Arden, Whit Payne, and of course we're going to renew Conshohocken and White Marsh with ours, with the greater group. That's in the works, so nothing to bring up to you right now with that. At least want to mention it, so you're aware of it. And then the only other thing we mentioned is National Night Out is tomorrow night.
That's right.
We will have a representation there. Actually, Jim will be there, represent the Fire Marshal's office, and should be a good time. And hope to see everybody out there. Should be a great night.
Yeah, National Night Out is always a fabulous night, so look forward to seeing you there. All right, continuing on down.
Well, great to be back.
Chris from Public Works.
Updates, our highway department is actually finishing up all the inlet work that we're doing and anticipated paving that is coming at the end of the month. So the paving will be here in probably about 3 weeks. Glasgow will start. We have Terrace Road, Hickory Road from the Turnpike Bridge to Fountain will be done.
Okay.
And Kennedy Crossing, like Archbishop, Monsignor, Bishop Drive. So that'll be done before September. And everything is going, sanitation department's doing well as always. They made it through the heat and they did a great job.
I admire them working in that heat, lifting those heavy bags and cans and everything.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
They do. All right. Len, what's going on with IT?
Not a whole lot. We're all up to date with Windows 11 out of the Windows 10 business. That had to be done by October. So I think there might be one or two computers remaining to get done before October. And then also we're going to be updating our cable TV station, for government access. That should be coming in the next few months.
What will that involve?
Involves a piece of an appliance called Castus. And what we do, we'll be able to like load our live meetings that we have. That we'll be able to send that right out to the TV. There won't be any back and forth, of course, but it'll be sent out to Facebook and YouTube. But everything will be held in the Castus versus being on YouTube, where YouTube has say over what video you can play. They can say, you're done, and you lose it. With us being with Castus, our own appliance, they can't do that. Then we just push it out there.
Oh, great.
It's not pushed out live, it's a recording.
No, it'll be live.
Oh, it's live, okay.
It will be, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's live now, going to Facebook or to YouTube. I think we only had 1 or 2 meetings that we did that with. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been
so-
live streaming just recently.
Yeah, so we've seen a couple things that were happening with that, and especially Brandon trying to edit, not necessarily edit, but it was more difficult to move it around without this program. And we'll be able to now access it through our government access channel. That's about it.
Good. Thank you. Kellen, dollars and cents.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Mainly, first thing, budget sheets were sent out to the department heads to fill out. Those are due at the end of August, so any new submissions or ask for the budgets due at the end of August for all the department heads. Other than that, the RFP went out a couple weeks ago. Haven't had any proposals sent in yet. Have had some questions asked from one firm, but still have till the beginning of September for those submissions. So other than that, no news is good news. Look at it.
Thank you, Kellen. Phil,
Yes.
Parks and Rec.
The weather has turned for us, so we've had much better month in July than we had in June. We have National Night Out tomorrow. We have another concert or movie on Wednesday, and then another final concert next Wednesday. So we're getting made up. Playground has ended. Camp has about 3 weeks left, and a couple specialty camps having a good year with that. We're getting geared up for fall. And to close out the pool, we've added a special event, a final swim.
I saw that, yeah.
Come out and join us if you like. So we're going to make a big deal out of the last swim for this era of the pool. So we're busy and we're doing well. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. The pool leads us right into Mr. Cabo.
That's first on my list. We're close to getting started. The contractor's been sending in their submittals, so we actually pushed the start back a little bit to help out with camp, so we're going to start September 2nd. That's going to be our start date. And we just added a few weeks at the end.
But it'll be closed the week before because we're closed for shutdown week.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So, and then shutdown week is coming up. That's, you guys all know about that. We shut the community center down, do a lot of the cleaning and maintenance that we can't do when the place is full. I'm still working on the punch list here. There are still some items. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll knock out most of them. The elevator's finally up and running. That was turned over last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, so that's a kind of a milestone. We've been waiting for that for a long time. Helping out a little bit with the Harmonville Fire Company construction project, going to some meetings, and just because of the location of it, adjacent to East Mill Valley Park, and the basketball courts, the electric's fed from the concession stand and the sign and things like that. So water fountains, other stuff, so trying to help them out a little bit. And then the tree giveaway that we talked about a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago now, actually, that's scheduled for September 27th. And I think I gave some.
Yeah, those details were included in the meeting packet.
Yeah, so that you guys could see, the sign-up sheet, the list of different species that are going to be available. We decided to do 50 trees for this first time. I think I included the invoice from the nursery, so you guys can see what we're spending, and so that'll be September 27th. You guys want to be interested, sign up.
All right, so, so it'll be post it at the community center. What else are we doing to advertise it for the residents?
So I know they're going to put it on the EAB Facebook page and the community center Facebook page. I don't know if, I did get an email about an article for the newsletter, but I think the newsletter's after.
Yeah.
After, but we can post it on the township's website, socials, that sort of thing.
I think that at least this year with it being 50 trees, I don't think we're going to have any problem, getting rid of all those, but, maybe if council decides they want to make this a regular thing, then maybe we could put it in the newsletter for future years.
Awesome.
And if I could pinch hit for Chief Merciades as he's
Yeah, I
attending.
still had a question
Oh, yeah.
about the, do you know in the tree giveaway, will there be any of the tubes or fencing or anything included, or is it just the tree?
Fencing and stakes. I don't think there's tubes. I think the fencing is like in lieu of the tubes, just to keep the deer away. So there'll be fencing, 2 stakes for each tree. We're going to do like a little planning demo, I think 10 o'clock that morning, so if anybody's interested to attend that.
Is that gonna be by, Andrew Conboy, or?
Yes, and I didn't say it, but it's here at the township, but we're gonna take delivery, along with White Marsh, so we're kind of gonna piggyback so the nursery can just do one delivery, so, we decided to do it here, so we can leave them in the parking lot overnight. Police can keep an eye on them.
Okay, great.
I like the pledge that they have to sign.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the
it too,
pledge a
yeah.
lot.
That was Andrew and Ellen McManontes, and Karen that helps Andrew out. And we've got-
Yeah, Karen, yeah.
Yeah, they did that. So yes, good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know when I got some trees from the state, I had to sign a pledge. Praying that they. Okay. That's a lot. Anything else, Rick?
No, I mean, just the normal everyday stuff, but yeah, nothing major.
Okay, and I know, Matt, you have any updates from the department heads who couldn't be here today?
Thank you. Chief Merciades is celebrating our recently retired Lieutenant O'Brien's swearing in and appointment as Chief of Police of Souderton Borough this evening, so congrats to him. Chief Merciades did provide an update, if you don't mind me taking some time to read. Our community policing unit hosted a Coffee with a Cop at the Pinnacle Senior Facility in July. The event was very well received, and it was decided to make the occasion a quarterly event. We've heard this tonight. Planning for National Night Out has been ongoing between the chief and GPCC staff, and the event is scheduled for tomorrow night. I'll see everybody there. That's me, not him. I'm sure he'll be there too. That was me ad-libbing. Moreover, a comprehensive emergency management plan is in effect. Our co-responder program continues to pay dividends, generating 88 social service contacts for the month of July. As part of the township's traffic calming initiative, the police department initiated 75 urban SDK proactive traffic details for the month of July. Additionally, we are constructing a traffic calming platform to include on the township's website, one which would allow residents to view targeted areas, chart enforcement progress, and view urban SDK generated reports. That is that fancy schmancy GIS-based real-time traffic data, just for those following at home, traffic data software that we have signed on to use. With many in Plymouth Township community expressing concern over recent ICE activities in Montgomery County, I submitted a communication outlining the police department's guidelines and policy regarding federal immigration issues. And lastly, we are prepared for the promotions of 3 officers and have secured District Justice Griffiths to swear in probationary officer Eric Gaynor. And that concludes his report.
All right, great. So he'll more than likely be at the national, well, our police are always there. They have a great presentation and presence, as do the fire companies, ambulance, fire marshal, everybody, so, and of course, Parks and Rec.
We'll be there too. Joanna's kind of the ringleader, so we're looking forward to it.
All right, and I guess there was nothing from HR because it's all confidential anyway, so.
Well, I've got things, but I can't talk about it.
On the traffic calming, is the, do we yet have the form up for residents to request something? in
For
there?
what?
You know, a form?
For traffic
Oh, traffic, sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
Oh, for traffic calming, yeah.
Yes, that is up on the website. It's still on, I think it's plymouthtownship.org/traffic calming. So the form is there, I believe. Brandon made it a fillable PDF also to help.
Nice.
Okay, so members of the public do
Yes.
that, and, all right, that's awesome.
I'd love to talk to you offline about that, because I have someone who's chomping at the bit to get started, so
Great.
maybe we can coordinate and
I
help
also
them get
have
going.
someone that wants
Well,
to do it.
knock on their doors and tell them to
applicant one.
chomp.
Yeah.
Yep. Great.
Okay, we will be, I'm sorry, Lonnie.
That's okay. I met last week with the contractors for the Harmonville Fire Company project, and the purpose of the meeting was to go over the limit of disturbance line on the property and to identify where they are allowed to cut trees down and what they're not allowed to cut down. So it was a
Okay.
very productive meeting. Everybody understands each other. Not much will happen in the back by the pond. You'll just be, some scrub vegetation will be taken out. All the big trees back there will stay. Along the driveway, though, there's a dead tree that has to come out by the water fountain, and another live tree that has to come out, and a row of bushes. And that, the purpose of taking those out is for sight distance. If we left those in, then that area back there, you wouldn't be able to see the cars coming up from the park when a vehicle is leaving the area. So that everybody is on the same page, and they're going to call me 48 hours before they start any work back there.
And you'll be off and on working with them, I imagine. It's going to consume a number of months.
I'll be out there as needed.
Okay. Thank you, Lonnie. All right, anybody else have anything? Well, okay, we will be announcing our citizen board vacancies and our zoning hearings, and of course, always our Parks and Recreation upcoming events, and the Cunnytown update will all be done at our regular meeting next Monday, beginning at 6 o'clock. And we will have, I don't think there are any members of the audience still left, if there's any. Yes, we're good. Okay. I can't see you, but if you had anything you wanted to say, now's your opportunity, or you can come next Monday and speak your piece.
Nothing.
Thank you. So the citizen board vacancy announcement, who wants to take that?
I'll take it.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. The zoning hearing announcement.
Sure.
Lynn? Parks and Recreation, upcoming events.
Nick likes to do that.
Who does?
Nick.
Couple of things.
He does volunteer for that one a lot.
Does he have the Cunnytown update too?
Oh, does he?
I don't know who has it.
Yeah, who has the
Who did the
Cunnytown?
last one?
I did.
You did.
It might be back to you.
Huh?
It might be back to you, because I think you.
That was the last one.
Okay, so I have the Cunnytown update, and Nick has Parks and Recreation. Okay. That's it? All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all.